Today is July 5th, and both parts of that date are important because it means it was just America's birthday and you missed it, you loser. What, didn't get invited to the party? Oh, and also that gay little Pride Month thing? It's over now. It has been for nearly a week, and it feels great. Baby, it's time for some real pride. American pride. It's a true patriot's turn to celebrate what makes this country great, and the list is just bursting at the seams with stuff that I couldn't be happier about. We've got wars in the Middle East, baby. Back to the classics. No healthcare, a tale as old as time, and not only are microplastics at an all-time high, but for the 249th anniversary of one of the countries of all time, we're bringing back some old classic passive poisons. Asbestos, making its return, baby. Make my apartment out of that shit. And better yet, we're introducing lead back into the youth's lungs by getting them to vape. Everything that's made America what it is throughout history is in full force right now, baby. Hi again, fellas. And the end of Pride Month isn't necessarily something I look forward to, but it is inevitable, so when it does happen, I managed to get a few laughs out of jokes that could only be made at this point in the year. You know what I'm talking about. Straight and gay people alike start saying all the frag grenades to the back, and I laugh every time because I can never tell which is which anymore. So I wanted to go through a few of these posts with you and just take a quick look back on what honestly may have been, even compared to last year, one of the quieter Pride months in recent memory. Also, we're going to be doing American stuff at the end. We're doing both forms of pride. If you enjoy this video, this card at the end will take you to another one like it. Also, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an upload. First, I must make a confession. On June 30th, when Pop Crave tweeted, "Today is the last day of Pride Month," I started laughing my ass off because I read it like it was a public service announcement in case any of the gays out there had forgotten when June ended. I just couldn't remember if it ended on a 30th or the 31st. Either way, if you get caught being gay on July 1st, they're gonna skin you alive, brother. No more sucking your homie's dick at the end of a night out. You gotta go back home to your girlfriend. We all agreed that we get to do this for 1 month just to get it out of our systems, then we go back to raising our nuclear families. As this one TikToker demonstrated, now that Pride Month is over. I like how he takes off the cowboy hat at the start, like that was the biggest change he had to make from June going into July. That cowboy hat on his head just flowed the Brokeback Mountain propaganda directly into his bloodstream. But now that we're finally in the back half of the year and Pride Month is in our rear view, he's finally able to take it off and become capable of being straight again. Still, he was like looking down all shy at the end like, I don't know, man, I kind of liked it more when I was kissing other dudes. I mean, if I gotta go back to liking women, I guess. I'm gonna save you a scroll before I go picking out some highlights, but if you look up Pride Month is over on Twitter, it's mostly a mix of different types of people making the same jokes about how it's illegal to be gay now. Half of them are gay people who think it's funny to be homophobic, and the other half are homophobes who think it's funny to be homophobic. They're both correct. One of my favorite phenomena is the class of person who sees a rainbow in like any context after June has ended, and they just gotta make sure that the rainbow gets the memo and kindly reminds them that Pride Month ended already, sweetie, and that the rainbow should promptly return to grayscale lest they get ratioed on Twitter by all sides of the aisle. Rainbow Road reverts to road following the end of Pride Month. You know, the same thing happened to like my bisexual lights in the background when that clock struck midnight on June 30th. They reset to the most blinding, cum-colored white I've ever seen on display in my own home, including from my actual cum. I wasn't able to get them to change color back to their normal blue and purple until this morning, and I think I had to wait for 4th of July to be over before they let me. Now, that covers most of what you'll be seeing in that search feed, and a lot of it's quieted down by the time this video goes out, except for the last major category, which is on full thrust at all times. The last major demographic when you search Pride Month is over on Twitter is like a bunch of gay porn accounts that are giving last-second discounts to anybody who missed out on gooning to them. Only 2 days of Pride Month left, and only 2 more days to masturbate to 2 buff men kissing before it's completely outlawed until same time next year. Pride Month in America is in June to commemorate the Stonewall Uprising back in 1969, which makes perfect sense to me. It's just the coincidence of the timing is low-key kind of perfect to start dunking on queer folk when it's over. It's diabolical. All the rainbow visuals are starting to come down in the first days of July. Gay people are heading back to the closets we all live in, ready to hibernate until we're allowed to be in public the same time next year. And all of it is passively fertilizing the ground for the next big celebration this country does. The type of guy who actually gets annoyed by Pride Month has to wait less than a week after it's done fun for the 4th of July to come along like one big glue trap that lets folks say it's time to showcase real pride, American pride. And to be clear, gay people are generally among the folk who do this. If there's one commonality across all mankind, it's that anybody will use an excuse to get a day off and go party. I like to imagine the median American who is queer and is all for the whole Pride Month thing. Like they go to their local parade, dress loud and proud, where you can point at them and say, queer! They just get that out of their system that 1 month during the year. But when July rolls around right after, it's like, holy shit, 2 cakes! They don't really care that all the pride flags are coming down and that companies are changing their profile pictures and logos back to normal as a bad thing. They see the American regalia and branding everywhere. They're just like, okay, round 2, baby. They're equally as gung-ho about watching fireworks, playing volleyball, taking belly button shots, and grilling out in the backyard as they are about sucking dick. Honestly, kinda seems like an ideal life. Plus, if you needed another thing to bring people together during July 4th, anti-British sentiment noticeably spikes around this time, which is a cause that Americans from all walks of life can rally around without thinking about too hard. And in the name of unity, I would like to give my contribution to this time-honored tradition. To pay my dues as a reformed gay person, until next June, who has just escaped the throes of Pride Month, I will name my favorite straight and most American ship. That way you know I'm a truly changed man who no longer himself likes men. It's Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers, Captain America. Yeah, it's a cop-out. I completely cheated. He got his happy ending after giving everything to the cause every time before that one. I'm sorry if that disappoints. I was only doing this for runtime anyways. But now that yesterday was the 4th of July, like it's already happened, other than the usual traditions of, screaming USA into the ether where no god is listening and shooting fireworks at him too, what did we have to look forward to this year specifically? What was unique to 2025? What was unique on July 4th to 2025? Oh, right. Trump set a deadline for July 4th for the Senate and House of Representatives to pass his big, beautiful bill. It almost looked like it might not cross the finish line for a second there, but the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, managed to flip enough votes to get it through. Pretty awesome stuff, right? I guess we have a new major American milestone to commemorate on July 4th. So what's this bill about exactly? It's been called the worst bill in modern American history and earned the loving nickname of the I am going to fucking kill you bill because of what's in it. What's in it being, I'm about to throw some numbers at you that are not at all comprehensive of everything the bill does, so prepare yourself. Okay, ready? So on the whole, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office projects that over the next decade, the bill would push revenues down by $4.5 trillion, and to make up for the lost revenue, spending would be cut by $1.2 trillion. If you're doing some math in your head, that is not nearly enough to make up the difference, and it would lead to increasing the national debt by over $3 trillion. We're talking in numbers that are like incomprehensible outside of context to the normal human brain, myself included. So let me give you an example. One of the big ways they are making these savings is by slashing Medicaid funding. They're adding work requirements that if you are able-bodied and under 65, you have to prove that you work at least 80 hours a month to get your Medicaid benefits. But the process there gets really complicated, and it could potentially leave millions of Americans and children without health insurance over the upcoming years, as well as tons of rural hospitals that serve more isolated communities that don't have another hospital near them. Hundreds of them are at risk of shutting down now that the bill has been passed, because part of the funding cuts from Medicaid included billions of dollars that went to these rural areas. Ironically, many of which voted for Trump. And it's easy to do the dunk where it's like, oh, they voted for this, but like, I don't know, man, I don't think they should lose their health care or access to emergency services. However you feel about these changes I've mentioned, which don't even begin to cover all the ways money is being spent and funding is getting cut, the bottom line is the bill spends way more than it saves, about $3 trillion more. And the tax cuts are the biggest culprit here. They are like a permanent extension of the tax cuts that Trump put into law in 2017. And the biggest tax cuts, of course, go to the people who need it the most, the wealthiest Americans. There's a chance that you may still end up with more cash in your pocket by the end of it. I don't know you. But it seems like it comes with a lot of baggage in order to pull something like that off, man. I don't know. As for people's general response to this whole thing, for reference, this was the bill that initially got Elon Musk to break rank from Donald Trump, and that eventually led to him insinuating Donald Trump was a pedophile by way of being in the Epstein files. Elon's criticism started pretty soft, where he'd say shit like, I think a bill can be either big or beautiful. Not both. He'd get more specific on the policies, like how it just increases the national debt, how it just increases our deficit to the breaking point. And recently, after it seemed like he was cooling down on this topic and his general criticism of Trump, when the bill actually looked like it was going to get passed in both the House and Senate, he awoke from his slumber once again. Every member of Congress Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame. And they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this Earth. Okay? Let's be real. He does not have the attention span for that. He's gonna get distracted paying someone to boost his account on a new game pretty soon. But consider the amount of people he is saying that he will primary. Almost every Republican in Congress ran on reducing government spending, and they all voted for the big, beautiful bill, except for like 10 people. Fake demons, man. Fake demons. The richest man on Earth was threatening to make it his life's mission to primary and replace half of Congress with people who would be on his payroll, which is a pretty goddamn bleak thought on its own, that he has so much wealth that we can't completely write him off when he says that type of shit. Even if he's tried before and it's not worked out so well, like with that Wisconsin Supreme Court race that he threw tens of millions of dollars at. But even if that is like just bad on principle, me and Elon are aligned in not liking this bill very much in this instance. And he's far from the only one. It seems like a majority of America thinks it's abysmal dog shit.
How do Americans feel about the big, beautiful bill?
Yeah, if we're talking about adjectives, how about they think it's awful, they think it's horrible, and to quote our colleague Charles Barkley, terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't just got one poll for you, Omar. I got 5 of them, and the net favorable rating, minus 19 points, minus 20 points, Fox minus 21, me minus 26. The American public at this particular point hate the big, beautiful bill.
It's like the more time people have to sink their teeth into what's actually in the bill and could come from it getting passed, people either hate it as much as they already did, or they hate it more. Affectionately referred to as the I hope you fucking die and starve bill. There's nothing that screams American pride quite like taking a shotgun and blowing a massive hole in our own sternum with it. The Chinese century was never a guarantee, but my god, if Polymarket starts a betting odds page on that scenario, I'm gonna be watching that shit like a hawk. So yeah, almost forgot to say it. Happy birthday to America. I did not have much to celebrate this year for it. That's all I got. That card I mentioned should be on screen. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I'll see y'all next time.